y'all, it's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome. It is day 51 of the 100-day project and my not precious project, in which I am taking items from my stash that I have deemed too precious to use for anything and trying to actually use them. I am struggling a bit today. Yesterday was, of course, day 50. It was the hump. I tried to finish up taking apart that typewriter I have. I've got a short for that. I'll see if I can link that out, up there. And then today I thought I would start to, when I started this project, I curated a bunch of stuff. So I gathered a bunch of stuff in a container and said, okay, this is what I'm going to pull from, especially if I don't have any ideas. And I've used almost everything in it except for a couple of things. These two items, I think there's a key, there's a little part from a camera, and then there's a little lock with its key, are all that's left. So I've been picking up these pieces on and off for a while. I'm not real sure what this little bird is, y'all. I don't know, with that hole makes me think that possibly it held a birthday candle or something. But I don't know. I really, really don't know. And then this is just a rusty safety pin with some old buttons on it. Then I have picked out, I've got a big stash of small tins like this, like tin containers that held watch parts. So I think this probably had like a spring or something. And I don't know, I pulled this out, but I don't think I'm going to actually use it. It's just you can see my Thrifty Thursday haul. These are from the Dollar Tree. They're just little wood mushrooms. I don't think that's going to work into this. I think I'm going to just do one small thing that might get worked into something larger later. So I'm going to try to combine these somehow into one small-ish assemblage just to get over this hump. I'm sorry if the lighting is weird. The eclipse is going on right now. It is ending. It is coming towards, we're over the hump of the midway point of it. We only had a partial here in South Alabama. The light has gotten weird and it's overcast, so I couldn't see anything. So I was like, let me go do this 100-day project and stop stalling. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let me know if you have any questions about this project or anything that comes forth. So I started this project by grabbing that's a paper punch. It's got a bunch of circles on it. I think it's called confetti or something like that. But I have found the larger punch, for the most part, tends to fit inside a lot of bezels. And that is the same with this little tin. So, and I am only using the bottom part, the larger portion of the tin. I think I'll move around the top a while. So I'm using fluid matte medium to adhere the glue in there. I say glue to adhere the paper in there. So this project gets a little fiddly, and I'm including some of it because I want you to see that the perseverance of just keeping at it. If you don't like something, cover it up, do something else, and you're going to see quite a bit of this in this video. So I put the fluid matte medium in there, kind of allowing the wetness of that fluid medium to bend the paper, even if it's not the exact right size. And it's just a little piece of dictionary paper. I wanted to start with something to have some interest in the background of this, and I kind of knew I was going to arrange this piece like this. So almost like the rusty safety pin with the buttons on it is a branch of some kind, or a nest, and just below my little bird. So I'm pulling out my E6000 there, but first I thought, let me do something else. So you can see I kind of hesitate. I was like, wait, because I didn't want to glue the bird to that paper, especially while it's still wet, and kind of knowing that the paper, I don't know, might need a little something else. So I'm going to start by putting some gold paint in there. This is the Modern Masters Olympic Gold. I love this gold. I've mentioned it many times. If you've watched some of my other assemblages and stuff, you've probably seen this paint. But this paint's never going to show because I'm going to dry it here and come back in and yeah, So I'm going to use a pen and make some, I don't know, like a swirly, squiggly thing. And then I decide to try to seal it in with more of that fluid matte medium. And when I go to move it around with my little paintbrush, oh y'all, look at that muddy mess. I immediately was like, oh, that's not good. So I'm using a paper towel to wipe it up quickly, but I lost all of my gold there. So of course I've got to come back in with more gold paint because obviously paint back over it. So I will get that paint down, and then am I gonna dry it again? I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna try, yeah, I'm trying out a couple of other pens to see if they run when yeah, and that one didn't. So I was like, okay, well, what about this one? So I'm going to do something similar. I didn't like the tip on that other one. I think it wasn't dark enough. So I'm going to try this one. And y'all, this one is, oh, see, look, I didn't dry that well enough. I touched the inside of my tin. That was still tacky. I pulled some of that up. I was like, okay, well, I'll just put more paint down using my finger. No big deal. This was definitely a trial and error thing. So I am sorry I will probably get a ton of thumbs down on this video because this really was a simple project when it comes down to it. But I'm sharing it because I wanted y'all to see that sometimes things get fiddly, sometimes things don't work out, and it's okay. Just when you're creating, just keep trying things. Just, this is I keep saying, this is my not precious project. I'm trying to use these things that feel very precious to me. And I need this reminder that it is okay, that if things mess up a little bit, I can come back and try to fix them. So you can see I'm going through several different pens, trying to draw on this background. I was very determined about it. Here I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and put some matte medium down on top of all of this and seal it. I think, did that ink also blend? I think it might have a little bit. And something hit me that, what I really need to do is seal this in. So this is a bunch of ultra thick and embossing enamel, and y'all, I dyed it with something, I think maybe alcohol inks. I don't even know how many years ago, at least 10 years ago, because these moved with me from my old house. This is something I have had for ages and ages. So it is, yeah. They've been around for a while. So I put a little bit of that ultra thick embossing enamel in there on top of the fluid matte medium, and I'm heating it. I was trying to see if I could get some of that blue color that was in that one along with a transparency to it, because I knew that wasn't going to be super thick. Now, y'all, you see that amount I added to I added to the tin without putting any kind of adhesive and turned on that heat gun, and it blew all over my desk. So what stayed in there, I went ahead and heated and let it kind of pool and thicken and do what it's going to do. You see, I'm turning it because some areas aren't getting heated near as much. And of course, that tin is metal, so it is also getting quite hot. So I am stopping and looking at that. Here I let it cool for a minute. And that blue just is not showing up in there. I don't know what I was thinking when I created those. I honestly have not used those tinted embossing enamels that I made. Yeah, I haven't used them. So I'm adding more of that fluid matte medium, and I'm going to throw in a bit more of the embossing enamel, that tinted ultra thick embossing enamel, and I am dumping out the excess, that way I don't have more of it all over my desk again. And then I will heat it once again. Now y'all, I really thought I was trying to add some depth to this and get some of see-throughness going on. What's gonna happen here is Yeah, well, it's going to be something different. The more I did this, the more I wasn't getting exactly the effect that I wanted with it. Ah, it's still kind of lumpy and bumpy and weird, and I'm not seeing the gold through it. And I don't know, can you see back there? I'm trying to push down bubbles, and it's doing weird things, and I'm not happy. Not happy. So I'm gonna stare at this. I'm looking at it. I'm trying not to touch that tin, but as we know, that tin is hot. I've heated it how many times? So I did pull out the stamp, and I thought, okay, well, it's a good size for this, so I will use my stays on and stamp just on top of that. And yeah, you can see me. I'm trying multiple times. It is not good. Not good. Y'all, like I said, trial and error. And I still haven't added the 2 items that were the not precious things. For now, I'm just altering a 10 at this point. So I'm thinking, and we are coming to some realization, I think, at some point. No. I have got another pen. I don't even know what pen that is. I'm trying to see. Oh gosh, I have no idea what pen. Oh, that's a food ball pen. So I'm drawing in there, trying to like circle things up. For some reason I still wanted to add that bit of darkness in there, despite the fact that it makes no sense. So I've got that food ball in there on top of everything. I'm not liking it. Okay, here comes some of the fluid matte medium, and I am moving it around in there. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I think in this point I was just thinking, trying to come up with what is it that I am doing here. So yeah, I end up just wiping all of it out. The food ball, the everything is just getting wiped out of that little tin. And I'm super frustrated at this point, and I'm like, you know what? I can't walk away from this without having tried everything at my disposal. So I pull out this fine liner that has some acrylic ink in it. What is it? It's fluid acrylic ink and airbrush medium. And I put that in there, and that finally kind of works. It kind of looks like what I want it to look like. So I've got that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and dry it. Yep. And thinking it might sink into that embossing enamel that I've put in there, and I'm putting more of the fluid matte medium on top of it. I'm gonna add more of that bluey colored embossing enamel, dumping out the excess. I'm going to heat it again, trying to give it all the depth that I think I want from it. Now, this one thing this did do for me was the layers and layers of embossing enamel made that tin not as deep. So it's a bit more shallow. So it's still as big as it was, and it also gives it some heft and some weight to it as I'm doing this. So I am heating that up, trying to get it all to sink in there, and it gets this texture. Do you see the texture? Do you see the texture I'm seeing? So what I decided to do is to come in, cover it all up. I'm using more of the matte gel to go. Oh, and I'm having trouble with my dang little bottle of matte gel medium. I had a little clog in it. Not matte gel medium. It's not gel. It's fluid matte medium. I do that all the time. So I'm going to put a little bit more of that in there. And I've got this gold embossing powder that I'm going to add, because at this point I don't know, I've got a texture, it's dark, it's weird. Yeah. So I'm going to put the gold in there. Now, I don't know. I guess I couldn't get the spoon in there or something. I'm dumping out I don't know why. Oh, I don't have as much space to pour that in there. So I am making sure all the areas are covered with that gold embossing enamel and dumping that in there. And y'all, this is just to alter the tin. I haven't even touched my little precious bird and safety pin yet. So I'm going to heat this up, and as I do, of course, that gold embossing powder is going to melt and move, and it gets not, I don't think it gets quite as gold as I want, does it? Maybe. Oh yeah, here, now we can start to see it. Look at that. It looks like it's gold. It's beautiful. So I loved that. I thought that was great. I thought that was going to be a great background. I think at this point I was really just done with futzing with this. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of E6000 to my bird, specifically on the areas that I know will touch the back of that 10. So I've got it in there. I'm going to let it sit, and I'm going to do the same thing with that rusty safety pin and buttons. I do pull out here. What did I pull out? It's like some why? Oh, there was a staple in that. These are some beads I guess I got at the an estate sale. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I could add some sparkle to this. That's what, in that little hole that's back there, that little dip. I thought maybe I could put one of the crystals in there or something. It just looked funky, y'all. It was like, why would a bird have this like nestled on its back? I'm still trying to overthink it, and not go simple, because honestly, y'all, I could have simply painted the back of that 10 gold and stuck these things down, and it would have a similar effect. But I had to work through it. I had to try the things. I had to experiment and finally come around to what kind of I began with. So, and like I said, all of those layers of embossing powder, it really helped to give this a little more weight and importance. And yeah, so it was a process. It's fine. So I'm going to use a toothpick now to put my E6000. I put it on my little paper sheet there so that I can pick it up a little bit easier, and I'm looking at like where that safety pin is touching, where it's touching the bird, where it's touching the 10, and putting as little as I can onto it. I am looking at an image of this. Y'all may see some of these pictures later that you can see a little bit of the E6000, but it's not a huge deal. Now I'm going to tell you the pictures I'm going to share with you are pictures of it completed, but what I ended up doing later is coming back with more of that E6000 and putting just a pin back on the back of it, and I have worn that brooch 2 or 3 times now. It is the cutest little thing. I love it. And I hated that it was such a futzy thing, but sometimes it takes that little bit of extra thought and extra, what else can I do? What else can I do? To really get to something that makes you completely happy. So I hope that you like this. I'm sorry if you were bored out of your mind. I understand. I get that. But I do appreciate you coming by and watching. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up, and I will see y'all later with more iCads and 100-day projects and whatever else I get up to. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.